Ben Roethlisberger retired after the 2021 season, meaning he will be eligible for the Hall of Fame in 2027, especially in light of changes to the Hall of Fame voting procedure. However, real questions persist about when he'll be inducted. After two-time Super Bowl champion and MVP Eli Manning failed to secure the necessary votes as a first-ballot member last year, some wonder about the Steelers' own champion. Not his longtime backup, Charlie Batch, however. He absolutely is a first-ballot Hall of Famer, he told Kay Adams on Up and Adams yesterday. He said that Roethlisberger's resume is just as good, if not better, than Manning's, which is true. I think when you look at the numbers, depending on what you're looking for, they definitely are better for him. Ben Roethlisberger has about 7,000 more passing yards, 52 more touchdowns, and many more wins. Manning only had 7 winning seasons and 2 seasons in which he won at least one playoff game. Granted, he led the Giants to Super Bowl titles in both of those seasons. In contrast, Ben Roethlisberger retired with a 13-10 postseason record, with 6 seasons with a playoff win. He did finish his career on a 4-game playoff losing streak, his last one coming in 2016. But by then, he already had 2 Super Bowl rings. He also threw for nearly 6,000 yards in the playoffs with 36 touchdowns, though also with 28 interceptions. He had at least 4 interceptions in 4 different postseason runs. But Roethlisberger and everyone else will have a harder time qualifying for the Hall of Fame unless they change the voting procedures again. Last round, the first time under the new rules, they voted in a class of just 4 members, leaving out some eyebrow-raising names like Luke Kuechly and Reggie Wayne. Under the new voting rules, instead of voting on a group of 15 finalists, voters trim the list to 7. Voters then select 5 of the 7, and only those who receive 80% of the votes make it. Under those rules, frankly, I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Roethlisberger undoubtedly will make the Hall of Fame at some point, though, and when he does, Charlie Batch will be there. And he'll bring a group of kids he takes on trips to the Hall of Fame as part of his charity work. I don't care if you brush it off or not, he said to Roethlisberger, who downplayed his odds. We're going to be there to celebrate you because I was there for 9 of your 18 years, and I saw the work that you put into it behind the scenes when nobody gave you credit. It wasn't until you threw for 4,952 yards that people on the outside would say, man, this guy could really throw the football. Charlie Batch served as Ben Roethlisberger's backup from 2004 through 2012. Batch missed a couple of those years due to injury, including Roethlisberger's rookie season of 2004. But he was always a core influence in the young quarterback's maturation on and off the field. I wouldn't be surprised if Roethlisberger were to ask him to introduce him. I'm just proud of him, Batch added of Roethlisberger. He's like a little brother to me, and I'm just proud of him for all the work that he actually has put in to create this opportunity for himself. Even though he is not under contract, Aaron Rodgers remains the most notable absence from the Steelers' OTA practices. Assuming that he does intend to sign with the team, the fact that he isn't here surely raises eyebrows. Players in the locker room are necessarily aware because reporters keep asking them about it. And sometimes it's hard not to read between the lines. Asked this week to explain why he prioritized participating in OTAs, Minkah Fitzpatrick said, because we're working. And at the end of the day, I think what gets you to be a better football is playing football. Then, perhaps intentionally, perhaps unintentionally, he made a comment invoking Rodgers. It's hard to simulate that whether you're in Florida, Vegas, California, Fitzpatrick said via Pittsburgh's DSCN, likely aware Aaron Rodgers is from California. And right now we're playing football. We're getting better, and it's hard to do that on your own. Rodgers is, of course, completely on his own, without a contract, even though one is waiting for him to sign. Like the rest, Minkah Fitzpatrick didn't make any direct comments about Rodgers. But many have seemed to skirt the issue in their answers. And they went out of their way to emphasize the importance of OTAs in building chemistry, even with fewer practices. Some think Aaron Rodgers will sign with the Steelers next week in time for mandatory minicamp, though I remain skeptical. Minicamp is only mandatory for those under contract, so it holds no distinction for him. Minkah Fitzpatrick would have to be there, for example, but he would be there anyway. Whenever Steelers brass has been asked about Aaron Rodgers, they have said they are optimistic, but little else. If he doesn't sign by minicamp, though, what happens then? Do they start looking for a plan B, or do they just keep waiting? We don't know how much contact Rodgers has with the Steelers, or what he has communicated. If they know that he intends to sign, perhaps even when, that would obviously make a big difference. Assuming they do know, though, would they communicate that to the players, or in some way try to steer them away from making comments that might put Rodgers in a negative light? Either way, there doesn't seem to be any overwhelming sense of enthusiasm for Aaron Rodgers, really anywhere. Ross Tucker even suggested that perhaps the fact that nobody wants him plays a role in his staying away. It's unclear exactly how serious the Steelers even are about Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, they would prefer if he signs and is their starting quarterback. But they seem ready and willing to pivot to their next option if he chooses not to sign for whatever reason. Whether that's Mason Rudolph or someone else, they won't have their hearts broken. Still unsigned more than 80 days since the official start to free agency, Aaron Rodgers isn't a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as a free agent, he isn't beholden to any team to attend its off-season training program. Even if he was a Steeler, which team brass remain optimistic Rodgers will eventually become, he still wouldn't be required to attend any portion of the team's voluntary organized team activities, which entered their second week Tuesday. Steelers decision-makers view Rodgers as a plug-and-play quarterback capable of a seamless transition, but in missing an opportunity to learn the offense and build chemistry with new teammates at OTAs, and potentially next week's mandatory minicamp. Rodgers and the Steelers are needlessly turning up the pressure on a team and an offense that's already going to be one of the most scrutinized of the 2025 NFL season. Without Rodgers, or another veteran quarterback, on the roster, the Steelers have 3 quarterbacks going through drills at OTAs: Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and 6th-round pick Will Howard. General Manager Omar Khan has continually made it clear the team intends to carry 4 quarterbacks into training camp, leaving one spot up for grabs. Asked if there was a point in the offseason when having an incomplete quarterback room would hinder team development, Coach Mike Tomlin downplayed the importance of OTAs. In the spring, it's about teaching and learning and getting familiar with players and making sure they're getting familiar with some of the things that we value, Tomlin said from the NFL's annual league meeting in Palm Beach. It's not an evaluation time of the year for us. It's certainly not a time of the year where we're focused on readying ourselves for the game action. That sentiment is a departure from a year ago when he put Russell Wilson in pole position, ahead of spring workouts in an effort to streamline team development. It just creates a synergy that I think is good for this time of year, Tomlin said at the 2024 league meeting. The words and actions of veterans attending Steelers OTAs during the past 2 weeks seemingly align more with Tomlin's 2024 view of the offseason than the one he expressed 2 months ago. It's very important being able to spend time together, talk about the base stuff of the offense, so when we hit training camp, we can talk about further fundamentals and details, tight end Pat Freiermuth said after the first OTA practice. So it's very important to be here and work with the guys, get familiar with them, and just get on the same page. New Steeler Darius Slay Jr., a 13-year veteran who joined the team after playing for the Philadelphia Eagles for 5 seasons, missed the first OTA session but was in Pittsburgh the next day and emphasized the importance of attending the voluntary workouts after practice. "This is where championship football starts," Slay said. "And with me, I just came off of the Super Bowl. Everybody got to buy in, and this is the type of time that needs to be bought in. I know guys got families and stuff. I got one as well, but you want to be a champion. Some stuff you've got to sacrifice. And so this is one of the jobs."